Now, I'm not Senegalese. I'm not Congolese. I've got to applaud both teams for what was an African football classic. But DR Congo, it's happened again. I literally said, I was watching the game, I was sort of flicking through that game and the South Africa game and the Cape Verde game. I see Congo go 2-0 up. And I remember just like yesterday, when Congo played Tunisia and went 2-0 up, I'm thinking, do not do it again. Do not do it again. Do not blow a 2-goal lead. It's just something about the mentality. It just haunts them. Once again, Congo have thrown away World Cup qualification that was in their hands. I think even in to go to 2010, I think against Malawi, I remember. They just can't get over the line. Congo, at one stage when they were 2-0 up, were 4 points ahead of Senegal. Now, they're 2 points behind them. And it's going to be difficult for Congo to get to the World Cup. Firstly, because Senegal will surely win this group because they've got South Sudan left to play. And secondly, for Congo, with a couple of tricky games, they've got to play Sudan, I think, and Togo, I think. They've got to go into the Intercontinental Playoff. They're going to have to play another 3 African teams, or 2 African teams in a semi-final and a final, and then another potential playoff. So even if DR Congo get a second place berth, another 3 games to get to the World Cup. So, I mean, look, we know how good Senegal are. We said before the game, they don't concede a lot of goals. They haven't lost for 23 games. They were 2-0 down. They still didn't lose. They went to England and drew and won 3-1, I should say, against Thomas Tuchel's England, not Gareth Southgate's England. They're a top team. They missed Ismaila Sarr, and they found a way. Now, I've got to be honest, a bit of bad defending from Senegal, from Mendy especially in goal. The first goal back on Boo, lovely stuff. The home crowd are up in Kinshasa. They've been there for hours. That stadium was packed out for ages, way before kickoff. 1-0 up. Then we see Wissa. I don't know what was going on there from Mendy again. You know, a tap-in really. 2-0 up. Amazing. But after the 2-0, not even half-time, Congo were on the back foot. At home with tens of thousands of fans behind them, inviting Senegalese pressure. Iliman and Jai had so much of the ball in the first half. You know, when it was half-time 2-1, Senegal were fuming. Even though they were 2-0 down for most of the time, they were on the ascendancy. The goal for 2-1, and Jai played very well. I don't think Masuaku and Wan-Bissaka covered themselves in glory. And Jai cuts inside, he shoots with his left foot. It hits the post. I don't know where Berto is, the goalie. The ball sort of bobbles along the line and then is poked home by Gueye. What's going on there? Second half, you're thinking, all right, Desabra's gone. You're 2-1 up. That's fine. You've conceded. It's a bit of a dodgy goal. That's okay. You've let in a sloppy goal from Nicholas Jackson, who's starting for the first time in God knows how many months. He's not even played for his new club yet, I don't think. Who on earth was marking Jackson? Who was marking Jackson? He had the freedom of Kinshasa to put that ball into the back of the net. And 2-2, you fear the worst. Because like I said, it was 2-2 before to go to Russia in 2018. Senegal thought they'd scored. The goal was chalked off. Even though it was actually an own goal, I think, from Masuaku. It should have stood. Sorry, it should have stood because it was not an offside. And the warning signs were there. And then right at the end, Sarr. I mean, you got to feel for Congo. It doesn't matter where you're from, if you're Rwandan, if you're whatever. You've got to feel for Congo because it just happens to them every time. Now, I know this is not going to be as deflating because they've got a very good chance as a second place playoff team. But they had a hand on the World Cup today. And instead of putting the other hand, they let go. And that is heartbreaking. You know when Algeria, Cameroon last time, the Egypt-Senegal penalty shootout, Tunisia, Congo in 2018, and Algeria, Burkina 2014. I could go on Nigeria 2022. It is so deflating when you're this close. If Senegal had won 5-0, it wouldn't have hurt as much. So, not the best game for Wan-Bissaka, if I'm being honest. And I think Congo on paper would have seen the group and gone, if we come second to Senegal, it's not the end of the world. But when you're that close and when you manage to get the point in Dakar, that point is now void and nothing. And it's just such a... I mean, it's not over because Senegal could drop points. Who knows what could happen? But I can't see that happening now. Senegal's really going to lose a 24-game unbeaten run to South Sudan. No, they're not. DR Congo, it's going to have to be the playoffs. But what a game, what an atmosphere. It's not over. Now, looking at the second place teams, because Congo now will be looking at who they might play. One of Gabon or Ivory Coast certainly will be in there, or one of Mozambique or Uganda going to be in there. It doesn't look like Nigeria are going to be in there. They look far too behind the second place spot in South Africa's group to get in there. So maybe they're going to have to deal with a Gabon or a Cote d'Ivoire, and you'd expect Congo to, if it's Gabon or Cameroon, I think Congo can deal with that. I think Congo would beat a Gabon or a Cameroon, and then if they're playing, I don't know, Bolivia, New Caledonia in the playoff, that's a whole different kettle of fish. But, such a shame. A great day for Congo ends in despair and disappointment. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.